America's debt is now over $38 trillion. So, protect your savings with something real. Gold. Sanctuary Metals helps you move a portion of your retirement into physical gold. Tax-deferred and penalty-free. Please call 800-801-6487 or just visit sanctuarymetals.com to get your free retirement defense guide. That's sanctuarymetals.com.
The Larry Kudlow Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Plenty going on, talking money and politics. Plenty. It's been a hell of a week, hell of a couple of weeks, actually. There's a few things I want to review with our friends. We got Liz Peaks, Fox News contributor and syndicated columnist. Steve Moore, WABC radio host of More Money, which pops up right after this show on most of these same radio stations. Good day to both of you. Liz Peak, I have I don't know what the right phrase is, a burr under my saddle. Maybe that's the right. You might want to Google that. I'm not sure I got that completely.
I know that expression. You bet.
Okay. And it's the J.P. Morgan debanking. And it's Trump's lawsuit, $5 billion. And I'm going to read it. This is the J.P. Morgan response. Quote, "We do close accounts because they create legal or regulatory risk for the company. We regret having to do so, but often rules and regulatory expectations lead us to do so." I don't know what that means. I have no idea what that means, and I think it means nothing. It's a non-denial denial, and I think they made a political decision in 2021, early 2021, regarding Donald Trump, and it was a negative decision. But I don't think they had the right to do that, and nobody held a gun to their head. I mean, the regulators under Biden weren't even in place at that point, or barely so. And so that's the burr under my saddle. Debanking is a terrible idea, and this argument that they're making has no meaning whatsoever.
Well, I thought actually the case, the rebuttal or whatever, the defense that the attorneys raised on the Trump organization's behalf was actually excellent. I mean, as they pointed out, the organization was fully in compliance with all the rules and regulations at that point. There was, to your point, Larry, absolutely no overt reason to do it, except Jamie Dimon is a very deft political actor. All big CEOs hope to be as clever with their politics as Jamie Dimon is. He was Obama's favorite banker until Obama lost credibility and popularity, and then all of a sudden he turned on Obama and the regulatory spaghetti that the Obama administration was spooling out. First and foremost, Jamie Dimon wants to be friendly with the current set of regulators. So, yeah, Biden's people weren't in place yet, but he knew full well, given the rhetoric of Biden and this coterie of cabinet would-be people, that they were going to hate the banks, and that Elizabeth Warren was going to be right there, guiding them all the way. So I think it was a completely purposeful move. I think he did debank the Trump organization, and to the defense's point, it was really. This isn't like debanking me, which would be pretty easy. I move my account to someplace else. This was a major business.
A lot of money.
Hundreds of millions of dollars. Right. Exactly.
And money is money.
It cost Trump a lot, and there was no particular reason for it.
Money was money. I mean, Steve Moore, it was a political decision. I think Jamie Dimon made a mistake. I'm not privy to it. I have actually spoken to him. A few of us had dinner with him months ago, and it came up, and he gave the same really half-baked argument about regulatory risk for the company. What does that mean, regulatory risk for the company? There's dollars in the bank account. He should like that. Banks are supposed to take deposits, for Christ's sakes. They're supposed to help businesses. And the Trump business, was at that point, a very healthy business. And it's just that I don't know where this will go. All right. I have no idea how this will end, but it's just something I don't want it to pass because I think debanking and, politicizing the banking system is a real bad idea. I would say the same thing for a Democrat, okay? I mean, it's not like it was black money or drug money or something like that. This is legitimate money sitting in accounts for a thriving business. And it's not a good precedent to let go.
Well, there's no question that conservatives were debanked during the Biden years. No question about it. I wasn't, but I know a lot of people who were for their political beliefs. Now, I don't know enough of the facts of the case, but it is true that the Biden regulators were strong-arming these banks to debank the Trump administration and people associated, with Trump. And so I do think the villain here is more the regulators than the banks themselves. Because look, banks only make money if they have deposits, right? So they don't have an incentive to, and I've talked to Jamie Dimon about this, and he's like, "Are you kidding? We spend billions of dollars trying to get people to open accounts with us. We don't want to eliminate them."
Why didn't he just say no? No.
Well, the good question. I mean, I don't know, but
because at that point he didn't know, and very few people knew, that Donald Trump would mount probably the greatest political comeback in history. But my point is, banking decisions should not be made on the basis of political decisions. All right, banks are different. And J.P. Morgan is a great bank. And I'm not beating it. Jamie Dimon's a very smart man. Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm not beating up on him. I'm just saying I think he made a really bad decision. And it shouldn't be allowed. Something has to happen here. Maybe Trump regulators. Somebody's got to just say, we're not going to do this anymore. All right. Now, whether that's legislation, Steve, or to go through the court case, I don't know. But you can't let this slide, because it'll come back again and it'll bite somebody else in the rear end.
Well, then the question is, do we want, the every time someone loses their account, they run to the government to sue the bank? I mean, I guess we're in an increasingly litigious society. I'm not so sure lawsuits are the solution to this, but we'll see how it turns out.
That's it? You're just going to leave it like that? I wanted fire and brimstone.
I don't have the burr under my saddle on this one.
All right.
Well, I think the president could have shamed Jamie Dimon and J.P. Morgan for having done this without a big lawsuit. But you know what? This guy has had so much done to him, and I don't want to sound like the hallelujah chorus here, but the reality is, everyone was talking about, oh my gosh, Trump is going to want vengeance. You know what? I would want vengeance. I would want some.
Exactly.
I would want some accountability for all the lousy things, the spying on my campaign and the fake lawsuits and the impeachments and the completely ridiculous J6, hearings in Congress. There was a lot of bad stuff, not to mention 2 assassination attempts. So
I don't know. Liz, you're making a very important point. And it is, all the left is now on, and the Democrats are like, oh, Trump is going after his political enemies. Well, who started this? I mean, my God, they raided his house. They went through Melania's closet.
Yep.
They tried to indict him 5 times. They spent a whole year and a half on the Russia collusion hoax, which was just
tried to take all his money away. There's Letitia James tried to take all his money away.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny. I've been moving more and more into the vengeance camp. I don't know. Vengeance
is mine, says the Lord.
I started out on the fence, but I think I'd just go ahead and get them all. I mean, it's just not good. All right. Something else. Elon Musk is going to be a big player in the midterm elections. Okay. He's back in the Trump camp and so forth. And I want to reiterate, I had Reince Priebus on last night. Really interesting analysis. Whatever Elon's going to donate to Republicans in the midterms, and it'll probably be a lot. Reince made this point, Liz, that Elon, when his people go into very heavy data analysis to find voters, actually low propensity voters for midterms, people that might turn out in a presidential don't necessarily turn out in a midterm. And those are a lot of Trump voters, and that they have really good data analysis. Who are they? What are their likes? What are their dislikes? How do you get them out? And I think the Elon Musk factor is right now very underrated.
Well, I think that's true. Obviously, the first thing is money, but the second thing is just brain power. He can collect, as we saw with Doge, an enormous number of brilliant people to, as you point out, analyze, sift through data, et cetera. And remember, all this started with Obama. Remember, Obama's team elected him, got him elected partly by ferreting out voters and assigning them into different categories and targeting them in a way that had never been done before. And I think now it has evolved to a real art. And I'm sure you're right, Larry. I'm so happy that Elon Musk is back in the GOP camp because, boy, I would not want to be up against him. And I'm sure the Democrats are very worried about this. And with all the rejiggering of districts and stuff going on, there's a lot of moving pieces here. And I think it's going to take a tremendous amount of analysis to forward this. And to your point, Trump voters are not necessarily Republican stalwart voters. They don't show up in midterms necessarily, and they don't maybe even connect Donald Trump with the fact that XYZ candidate is running in their district. They need to be motivated. They need to have targeted advertising. And I think, I think Elon Musk could be just unbelievably helpful there. We
were talking about all this fake polling at the top of the show with John McLaughlin and some others. And it's right. These polls, Steve, New York Times, Siena, Quinnipiac, and others, they're giving Republicans 27, 28%, maybe 29% of the split. They actually got 35 in the last election, but Trump got 50. So you've got this scale, and you have to sift through that and find out who's doing what. One is fake news, completely bad polling. The Karl Rove article in the Journal used polls that were just so bad. But on the other hand, you need to know who are the rest, because Liz is right. The Trump voters were not all Republican. I mean, it's a 15% gap, 35 to 50. And that could be determinant if you can get the extra 15% out. If you could get a fraction of that out, get 5 points out, 4 points out, Steve, that could carry the entire midterm for the House and Senate. Oh, do we lose Steve?
Sorry. The only polls that really matter are the elections themselves. And, look, I'm very concerned about this. We've had elections in Virginia, New York, New Jersey, Florida, and Republicans have gotten crushed in these races in the last 3 or 4 months. So I think we shouldn't be complacent. The Democrats are on a rampage, and they're angry, and they're out there voting. Now, look, I think what's happening, Larry, is that there is a reality of the U.S. economy, which, as you say every night, and you're correct, it's a booming U.S. economy, and there's a perception. And the perception has been, well, the economy isn't so good. I think what's going to save Republicans in the midterms, Larry and Liz, is that how can voters ignore one of the best economies we had in our lifetime. And so I think they've got to really talk about the great, and there was this story about how Trump is not happy with the way his team is selling the economy. Look, I think Kevin Hassett and the rest and Scott Besson are doing a great job on that. But I guess I'm a little flummoxed by this, because why are voters so angry when we have one of the best economies in our lifetime? That's the big question.
Maybe they're not. Phony polls. I'm serious.
Well, except Republicans are losing elections. I think it is because everything does seem pretty darned expensive. And again, and I've said this over and over, and I'm going to write about it again this week, the idea that Democrats are the party of affordability is completely nuts. I mean, they're the ones raising minimum wages and adding all kinds of regulations that mean everything gets more expensive. And by the way, folks, when you raise taxes, it doesn't just go into the ether. Costs go up. So, I mean, it's really amazing to me that California politicians are talking about affordability. Has anyone looked at the cost of living in California? They run the state, and everything costs 50% more.
Gavin Newsom is going to run as the affordability candidate.
Honestly, doesn't it make your hair stand on end? I'm really, I'm very discouraged about that. I really think part of the problem is that we had this big reconciliation bill, the big tax bill, and Republicans were just scared to death of it. I don't know why. They felt like they had to defend it because, oh my gosh, the wealthy are getting tax breaks. Well, guess what? Those are the people who pay taxes, and yes, when you lower taxes, they do get a tax break. But all the breaks in there for people getting tips and Social Security and so forth, who you name me one congressman who's been out there on the stump really talking about this bill. There aren't any. And that's part of the problem.
My favorite affordability guy is Bernie Sanders.
Right.
Elizabeth Warren second. We got to take a break. Liz Peek, Fox News contributor. Steve Moore's More Money coming up on most of these same stations right after this show. I'm Kudlow. We'll be right back, folks. Now we're talking money and politics. Two of the best. Liz Peek, Fox News contributor, and Steve Moore, host of More Money, coming up on most of these same radio stations right after this show. Steve Moore, what do you think of the midterm election convention? Midterm convention for the GOP.
Why not? Trump's changing all the rules of the game, isn't he? And I love this. And, by the way, what I'm really, really excited about what they're doing on the 250, it's going to be amazing. They're going to turn the whole mall into a celebration of America. And, I'm just so pleased that we have a pro-America president who's going to be president on our 250th anniversary.
And you can really, but this midterm convention, Democrats have done this, however unsuccessfully, but, it could be a real extravaganza, including the 250th birthday. The thing could be melded or merged into one big message, and it'd be very powerful. I don't think people have really discounted this yet or figured out just how powerful it might be, Liz.
Yeah, no, I think, look, what did people love about the 2024 campaign? The Republican convention was awesome.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was funny. It showed President Trump in an absolutely wonderful, humane light with his grandchildren, and it was really upbeat and joyous. And I remember that was a watchword of the Kamala Harris. Tim Walz campaign was joy, and boy, was it dour. Everything about it was so grim. And so, yes, if they can, I think pulling this off is a brilliant idea, and I love it. And by the way, it gives Trump a way to showcase Trump and his administration nationally without having to go to every single district that where he's needed, and there are a lot of those, I suspect. So this is a great way to kind of pull the party together and show, and again, talk up the accomplishments, Larry. We need to do more of that.
Well, I agree. It's a marketing tool, and it could be a very powerful marketing tool. And the Democrats are going to do it, and I want the Democrats to do it. I want them to. I want them to showcase all their policies as much as possible.
I want to highlight Abigail Spanberger. She's been in the news a lot lately. Let's talk about how running as a moderate and then flipping and talking about every woke policy, hiking taxes, et cetera, is really a good game plan.
Which is the one? Is she the one in Virginia?
Yeah.
She's in Virginia. She wants to close the military, the VMI.
It's unbelievable. And she is like turning the state on its head. And again, no one voted for that.
And she's firing all of Glenn Youngkin's appointees to the University of Virginia. He's tried to bail out UVA.
I live in that area, and she ran. The race was an incredible race because you would have thought she was Ronald Reagan.
Right.
The way she ran.
Yeah.
And,
right.
I'm a centrist, and I'm pro-growth, and I'm pro-business. And within 24 hours of being elected, all of a sudden, there's a blizzard of taxes, and we're going to get rid of the right to work laws. We're going to turn the state upside down.
Phenomenal. So I want that. Let's showcase all that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wherever they want to do it. They can have it in Minneapolis, the Democrats.
I think if they have a panel discussion of Mamdani and, I can really see it now. All the things Americans hate in one party. This is our platform. Welcome.
Well, I think it's just interesting. All these polls and supposedly that people don't like what Trump is doing. I don't believe any of it. I think it's all a lot of crap. But I'm saying, if you have a midterm convention, which has never been done before, and you're going to get all these stars and you're going to showcase these policies and really explain them. I mean, I think it's a very underestimated midterm election thing. Is what I think. Very underestimated.
I agree.
And, if Elon Musk wants to underwrite it, that's fine. You can do all the data analysis. But you're going to, the GOP has a good bench. The Democrats do not. With all due respect to Gavin Newsom, the GOP has a good bench. The Democrats don't have a good bench. By the way, Steve Moore, you just got to get out there. Did you read Trump's speech in Davos and his attack on the Phillips curve?
It was unbelievable.
You can grow the economy without inflation, huh?
Exactly.
Where are you? You're sleeping at the switch here. This is tremendous stuff Trump is doing. We haven't heard this since Reagan.
It was a frontal assault against the Phillips curve,
yes.
And he basically told the rest of the world, do what we are doing.
Right. It's the best thing I've seen in so long. I actually read the speech. I mean,
it was fantastic.
You have to print it on two sides because it's quite long, but I don't know.
It was.
I think I got to get out of here. Thank you, Liz Peek. We appreciate you very much.
Larry.
Thank you, Steve Moore. Steve's coming up here right after this show. Thanks, Larry Kudlow. It's great to be with you, folks. Next weekend, we'll be back.
Thanks for listening to The Larry Kudlow Show. You can hear The Larry Kudlow Show Saturday mornings at 10. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder,
what the heck is going on here?
America's debt is now over $38 trillion. So, protect your savings with something real. Gold. Sanctuary Metals helps you move a portion of your retirement into physical gold. Tax-deferred and penalty-free. Please call 800-801-6487 or just visit sanctuarymetals.com to get your free retirement defense guide. That's sanctuarymetals.com.